Good afternoon. It's been a while, hasn't it? So, there's this thing that happened, which is called I went back to school for about 6 months. Well, actually, it wasn't that much. I went back to school for like 4 months, and then I went home and I just never picked this up again. So it was twofold. It was I didn't have a lot to talk about because I had a bunch of classes going on and they were difficult. And then I also, I had my roommate to worry about, and I just didn't want to film in front of him because that was dumb. Right? It feels dumb. But I'm back. Welcome back to weekly updates. Whether they will stay weekly, I don't know. But I'm going to make an effort. That's kind of what summer's been about for me so far. So summer has been basically me trying to do some writing stuff the entire time. So I actually do have a lot to talk about right now, which is it's nice. So I guess I should probably start with getting you updated on what I've been up to. First of all, of course, I had college stuff to do. I took a bunch of classes. I actually took a creative writing class, which was nice. And the thing about the creative writing class is that a lot came out of it, which is I'm going to talk to you about. But first, I kind of want to go down the line sequentially, and I want to talk to you about stuff you already know before I get back into it. So I'm just going to jump into it. First thing, we have Fundamentals of Artistry, which is my main project that I've had going for I think I checked, by the way. And I'm going to have to check again because I don't remember the exact number. But last time I checked, I was like, as of... Oh man, I don't remember when I did it. I started working on Fundamentals of Artistry in August of 2021. And it's been a while. So it's been almost 3 years. So that's fun. That's just a little tidbit fact, whatever. The point is, I have gotten some work on it. So I think last time I updated, I was at 50,000. I did do a few chapters since then. And now we're at, I think, 65,000. I might actually be longer because I did work on it the other day. The big thing about the book projects right now is that I've been working on Fundamentals of Artistry for however long. It's the first thing I ever started. But the problem with that is it has a lot of problems. One of the things you can usually see in writers' first books is that they don't get it straight away. And I don't think I'm any different. So the thing is, a lot of it has issues that went on with when I was first writing, and just basically pitfalls that I got into because it was my first time doing anything. It's my first time attempting something of this caliber. I'm on the 19th chapter, which is kind of crazy, and I've never gotten that far through anything before. I'm pulling it up right now. I've got, still 65,000 words. I think I did 500 words yesterday. It wasn't very productive. The point is, it's hard. And what I started writing Fundamentals of Artistry for was, hey, this is my experiment. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to try and write a book. And I still want to finish it. But I'm probably going to only finish the first draft. If that makes any sense? Because I'm thinking about it as sort of some background here. One of my favorite authors is Brandon Sanderson. And for his most popular series, which is Stormlight, he has the first book, which is called The Way of Kings. He had a first version that he wrote of it when he first started writing, which is called The Way of Kings Prime. And what he did with that is when he was very, very early in his career, he started writing that. Same thing with Dragonsteel, I think. He's going to come back to that way later, I think. But The Way of Kings and Dragonsteel were both very early workshop books from when he was still in college, like I am. And so what he did is he went and he wrote all of them and he finished them. And then he went back later in his career when he actually knew how to write them and did them justice. My concern with Fundamentals of Artistry is that it's on the big central planet of everything in Kaon, which is the big universe, if you're not caught up. If I continue with it the way that I'm going and I finish it, I'm not going to be able to publish it. And if I do, I'm not going to do the story the justice that I want to do it. And I don't want to sink a lot of my time and effort into something that's really not going to come to as much fruition than it could if I, for example, wrote it like 5 years from now. I don't know if it's going to be 5 years. I might get lucky. You never know. But I'm putting a hold on it for now. And so right now I'm just going back to it every once in a while, putting a little more stuff that I've like learned from other projects and stuff that I worked on and doing more for it. That's what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to talk about that with the next project that I am going to announce right now. I am working on another book, which might be an awful idea because I never finished the first one. But with all of the problems that I've thought about, the idea came to mind, hey, I need a good starting point. Because Fundamentals of Artistry and the Spark series, which is what it's eventually going to be a part of, is so central in the, overarching plans that I want to do with this like universe I've created. I need a good starting point because otherwise I'm just going to jump you into the middle. Going back to the Sanderson analogy, I jump you straight into the Way of Kings without setting anything up. Or I don't know if there's a better example for this. Here's a good example. Avengers like Infinity War or Endgame. I jump you into that without setting up the little established threads around to actually make it a satisfying like conclusion, like, big event where everything that I built up to this point happens. It's just not going to be satisfying. So I need a place that I can start things, that I can actually publish, which is a big thing, that can basically kickstart things and get things noticed. So my temporary title for it is The Rebellious Loot. And the biggest way that I can describe it is that it's the story of a bard who goes on a quest to get an electric guitar, which I think is a pretty interesting concept, at least in my mind. A lot of the inspiration for it came of like, I was listening to a lot of rock music and I was like, oh, this is really interesting because there's a lot of like progressive rock and like stuff that's like pushing boundaries. And I kind of wanted to write something that was like, I'm gonna show what it's like to like be an artist and have that artistic like ambition and all of that. And it's also just an interesting story, I think, that I did. It's going to be very similar to one of those like, hey, we're a group of adventurers and we're going to go on a journey somewhere. And I think it's a good starting point. It's simple. It's fairly easy. It's pretty cool. I've got a bunch of characters that are floating around. And that draft is 16,855 exactly as of the time that I'm recording this, which is June 20th. So about 17,000 words on that. That's pretty good considering I started that May, like halfway through May, like May 15th or something like that. So as you can see, I have been writing. That has been what summer has been about for me so far. Though I do want to try and get more serious about it. I'm going to try and like actually hunker down because I've been getting a lot of bad writing days and I want to start, doing social media stuff to actually get people excited for it, all those cool things. That's the updates that I'll have on that. I'm currently on chapter 4 of that and we'll see how it goes. It's going pretty far. I think it's pretty good. There are 2 point of views. It is the bard, who I'm naming Hemiola, which there is a very good reason for that. The point is, or the story is, of why I named it that, is because my choir teacher, back when I was in high school, like, he didn't hate the word, but he always thought it sounded, or I think it was both teachers, actually, because I was in band and choir when I was in high school, and both of them thought that Hemiola sounded like a sickness, even though it's a musical term. And I just thought it was really funny to name a character after that, because all the characters in The Rebellious Loot are like named after musical terms. Like or musical people. The planet that I set it on is actually named Chopin. The king or whatever is named Frederic. The princess named Claude. But I thought Hemiola was just funny. So that's the name. Either way. So POVs, Hemiola, and the prince. So they're going to be like enemies and eventually become friends. So that should be cool. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's basically a fun book. And it's also in K-On! So that's cool. Works out. And we'll see. Short stories and other projects. So, stuff you already know. I've talked about Heart of Ice a lot. I did do some revisions. I looked at it. Actually sent it to one of my family members to read for a present or whatever because they like reading. So I was like, hey, read my stuff. You get early access. Either way, not much has gone on with it. It's kind of just been sitting. And I kind of have the problem right now that it's at a weird length. So it's technically at novelette length. And the problem I'm having is that I can't shorten it or extend it because the story just requires that amount of words. And I know that sounds pretentious, but it's true because it's just not going to feel right either way. And I don't want to shorten it too much and give you less of the experience. I don't want to lengthen it too much and give you not enough of an experience, or not enough of an experience, but I don't want to drone on about it. Because it is a pretty cool contained story that I think is pretty relevant. So what I'm leaning towards is a free release, if that makes any sense. A lot of times people release in magazines or anthologies or whatever. And I thought I can just do the same thing that I'm doing with the Music of Stillness, which is just record it, post it on YouTube. If I ever get a website, I can do it on that. We'll see. I don't know yet. I haven't set up a website or done any YouTube things. Last time I tried to, and I guess I'll just segue into the Music of Stillness right now, which is the other project I have. I recorded it, audiobook style, but I don't know if it's any good. I don't feel like I'm the greatest person at reading things aloud, and maybe I'll just experiment and say, hey, how does it go? But I'm probably going to release it still. I just don't know when. I don't know if I'm going to do time on it. Might have to re-record the whole thing. We'll see. It'll probably be more of a thing next week, update-wise. I don't know when I'll get around to it. I'm just going to put it on the back burner for now. A lot of these other projects that you guys already know about are going to be put on the back burner. So, Fundamentals of Artistry, kind of on the back burner. Heart of Ice, definitely on the back burner. Same thing with Music of Stillness for now, and we'll figure out how that goes. So, what I do have is the other stuff that I worked on. So, like I said, I did a creative writing class. And the thing with that creative writing class is that it gave me a lot of opportunity to write. So I got 2 short stories that I did for that class. One of them is very, very long, kind of akin to Heart of Ice in length. And then the other one is actually fairly short. So I'll talk about the short one for now. So I did one called My Lily. It's a bit of a more serious one and stuff that I usually do. I just had this idea of I'm walking down to in a park or next to a lake or sometime, and the sunset's going out, and I had this shock of inspiration. I'm all right, I'm gonna go write a story, and I blacked out and I wrote 2,000 words. All in one thing. I just sat down and I did it. It was kind of crazy. Ended up being 7 pages. So it was about a guy whose wife died, and the whole thing is him going through a city and experiencing the beauty of life and choosing to move on is what I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil too much or say the thing out loud. Point is, I think it's really good. In cases of, hey, this, when I wrote it, I literally thought in my mind, this is one of the best things I've ever written. Which is a lot, it's a lot to think. But still, the same thing goes, I think it's really great. And so I'm going to try and get it published, hopefully. I'm going to send it out to some magazines or papers or whatever that have these short story things and say, hey, I have this thing if you're interested in it. And if it does end up getting published, which will probably be sometime in the fall, then I'll say, hey, I got this thing published, go check it out. So that'll be cool. It's done. No reviews. I think it's great. I'll let you know when I get it published. And then I also have the other thing, which is Heart of Ice, which is The Girl Who Killed Death. This one is a K-On! Story, and it was bred out of my anxiety of hey, I'm going to die one day. So that's fun. But the point is, it's about this girl who goes into the chaos realm and becomes a god, and basically everything that she does from there. I think it's pretty good, and it's got an interesting story, so I'm not going to spoil too much of it. But once I finished it, it was like 20 pages long, which is a good amount, especially because the limit for the class that I was in was 20 pages. So here's a frame of reference. When I first finished Heart of Ice, I might have been 20 pages. I think it was somewhere near like 17. And it's 28 right now after I finished my revisions on it and like added some more stuff that I thought needed to be there. If I can pull up the draft of, what do you call it? The Girl Who Killed Death. By the way, that was double spaced. That's important. I don't remember how many words it was. I think it's around like 8,000, 9,000. Girl Who Killed Death is 31 pages, double spaced. So that's 9,000 words. So here's the thing that separates Heart of Ice and The Girl Who Killed Death. First of all, they're on different worlds and all. The Girl Who Killed Death is actually pretty relevant to like other events happening around Chaos, so I don't really have a problem with publishing it. I don't want to publish it first because it's just weird, because it kind of all takes place in the Chaos Realm, which is just a lot of weird imagery, and if you haven't like read anything that's in the Chaos Realm, it's just kind of uncomfortable, and it's a really weird place to start. Not only that, but what I'm planning on doing right now is, because it's 9,000 words and I feel like I can extend it and I have more story to tell, I'm planning on making it a novella. I don't know when that's going to happen. Probably after I finish The Rebellious Loot, or somewhere in between if I need a break for it. The point is, that's the plan for it right now. I'm not 100% putting it in the back burner for now, but what I am doing is saying, hey, let's wait and see. But either way, I think it's really interesting. It's got one of the things that is going to be incredibly relevant just for the rest of the lore of the world in general. Just something I kind of thought up of, and now it's like a huge established thing, which I think is actually really cool. But again, to reiterate, got a cool thing. I'm gonna make it a novella. I'll let you know when the next revision is. Probably gonna hold it until the book releases or is finished or whatever, and we'll see what happens. In terms of back burner stuff, like I had, what do you call it? I had the Carpet Siege that I was working on for a little bit working on. I really haven't done anything with it. Will it become a story one day? Maybe. It's still something that I kind of want to write, and I think it's a cool idea. I just haven't gotten around to it, and I'm not really excited for it right now. So I'm just going to say, hey, I'm not going to worry about it. And so, yeah, no progress on that. Anything else that I haven't said, no progress on that. I'll let you know if anything I do is interesting, gets published or whatever. Doing weekly updates. The next ones will probably be way shorter than this. I don't know yet. I haven't done anything. And the last thing I want to talk about is socials. So I'm going to try to be more active, hopefully. This is the first step to doing so. So I'll try to get the weekly updates as much as I can. That will probably continue through college, considering that I have an apartment now and I'm fine with recording in my room. I think it's got a door, and I think the walls aren't thin, and I don't think my roommate will mind. He probably won't be in like a good amount of the time because we have classes and stuff, so I should have no problem recording stuff, which I am looking forward to. I was thinking of making more socials. I don't know when I would do that. I will work on it. I'm thinking about like Instagram and YouTube at the very least, like Reels and Shorts, maybe TikTok. I kind of have a weird thing with TikTok, and I've heard things about it I've heard things that say, hey, you shouldn't use TikTok because it's like spyware, and I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't, but I might not because it's a fairly good platform to share stuff on. I don't know. It's up for debate. If I end up doing it, I'll tell you. If I don't, then you don't want to hear anything about it. But I also have some plans. So, like, I've been doing a ton of reading. So, like, just this month, I've read, like, this book. I read this book in, like, 4 days. 4 days. It was or 3 or 4. I don't remember. It was a really great book. And I also read this book. Both of these are 5-star reads for me, which is kind of crazy because I don't usually read like 2 5-star books within a very small thing of each other. And I'm also reading this one. I'm in the middle of it, Project Hail Mary. It's really good so far. So I've got a bunch of books that I would just want to talk about because I really like them. This one's about like 4.5 stars right now. So, you know, if I feel passionate about something, I might go and actually create a really regular book review. Might be akin to the reviews I usually made on the channel that I don't talk about. I'm not gonna make you suffer through that. Will I ever go back to that? Maybe. If you find it, don't tell anybody. Point is, I might do lengthy book reviews. They're going to take a lot of time though, so what I'm going to end up doing probably, at least for most of the books that I read, is like 1 minute book. Yeah, 1 minute. No, 1 minute book reviews. Because the limit on YouTube is only 1 minute for a short, I'll probably say, hey, you know, this is a book that I like. Here are the cool things about it. Here's what I didn't like. Here's my rating. And that'll be just it. And that's like 1 minute. That's easy. That'll take me like 5 minutes to write, edit, and record. And that'll be up on the channel. So that sounds really interesting. And I think it could be something that's fun, easy to do, can actually help reach engagement. I've seen a lot of cool YouTube channels do book stuff, and I kind of want to just jump into it. It sounds really interesting. I think I could have a take on it, especially being a writer myself. I still want to do an intro to K-On! Video just to explain what this whole thing is. But I don't know where to start, and it's kind of long. Video essays would be cool. But basically, I'll let you know when ideas happen, if anything's in the work. Same thing, weekly updates is the only thing. Yeah. That's pretty much everything that I had to talk about. Just updates on projects, stuff I want to do that you should look out for in the future, and weekly updates. So that's going to be pretty fun. Hopefully I'll be able to actually motivate myself to do things. Because when you don't have any obligations, and you're just here for the summer, it gets really difficult to actually say, hey, I'm going to go use my time to, instead of playing video games all day, write a book or something. I don't know. But hopefully summer will be okay. And that's about all I had today. I'm going to turn my fan on so I don't boil alive in the like 100-degree heat that's hitting me right now. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.